Daylight Robbery: How Financial Manipulation is a Crime Against Humanity and How Bitcoin Can Save Us. Introduction. The global financial system has become a highly orchestrated machine, designed not to serve the many, but to empower and enrich a few. Those who control the levers of power in this system, from central banks to multinational corporations, do so with the full knowledge that their actions often create deep harm and injustice. Yet, despite the widespread damage caused by financial crises, bailouts, and systemic exploitation, those responsible rarely face the consequences of their actions. Instead, they benefit, profiting from the very disasters they orchestrate. This is not just a case of bad actors taking advantage of a flawed system, it's a systematic failure of morality. It's a conscious effort to manipulate global financial structures for the benefit of a select few, leaving the majority to suffer. This is daylight robbery, an unfair exploitation of public trust and societal infrastructure that destabilizes economies, erodes trust, and harms the collective good. In this exposition, we will examine the moral breakdown at the heart of the current financial system, explain why it constitutes a crime against humanity, and demonstrate how decentralized technologies like Bitcoin offer an ethical, sustainable alternative to the status quo. 2. The anatomy of a rigged system. To understand the scope of this moral failure, it's important to break down how the global financial system works and why it's inherently rigged. Systems like SWIFT, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, the U.S. dollar's dominance and the power of central banks are not accidents. They are products of deliberate design. The U.S. and European financial powers created these systems with the intention of consolidating control and creating economic leverage over the rest of the world. The heart of the system is the balance sheet, a tool used by financial institutions to show the value of their assets and liabilities. For much of the 21st century, these institutions have maintained inflated asset values, often through risky and unsustainable means. When the value of these assets falls, whether due to poor investments, speculative bubbles, or systematic manipulation, the institutions holding them face insolvency. This isn't a random occurrence, but a highly predictable result of an over-leveraged system that pushes risk onto the public while shielding the elites from any real consequence. In films like Margin Call, we see the stark reality of this manipulation. Analysts at an investment firm discover that the value of their assets has dramatically dropped, pushing the firm to the brink of collapse. However, rather than accepting responsibility, the decision is made to offload the bad assets onto the broader market, shifting the burden to others. This manipulation, this conscious decision to benefit from disaster, is not an isolated event. It happens again and again, in one form or another, across financial systems worldwide. The moral failure at the heart of the old system. At its core, the financial system's manipulation isn't just a failure of strategy or economic forecasting. It is a failure of morality. The system is not simply malfunctioning. It is designed to concentrate power and wealth in the hands of the few, while leaving the public vulnerable to economic shocks, inflation, and debt. Those who benefit from this system know exactly what they're doing. They are not passive bystanders. They are active participants in a game where the outcome is rigged in their favor. When the creators of financial systems use them to exploit others, it is not just an ethical issue, it is a moral crime. The architects of these systems, be it in the banking industry, governments, or multinational corporations, are aware of the damage they cause. They understand that by manipulating market outcomes, shifting risk onto the public, and bailing out failed institutions with taxpayer money, they are further entrenching an unfair system that benefits the few at the expense of the many. This is where the true injustice lies, not just in the financial loss itself, but in the knowledge that the game is rigged, and that those who are playing it do so with the intent to profit from the very disasters they engineer. It's not just poor management or bad luck. It's a calculated, deliberate act of exploitation. It's a crime against humanity. 4. Why this is a crime against humanity. When a financial system becomes a tool of manipulation, it stops serving its intended purpose of facilitating fair exchange and economic growth. Instead, it becomes a weapon that is wielded to exploit nations, businesses, and individuals around the world. This manipulation isn't just an isolated problem. It affects the global economy, erodes trust between nations, and harms countless lives. The consequences of this betrayal are profound. When people see that systems are rigged, that their hard-earned money is being siphoned off by those in power, it creates an environment of deep distrust. As the trust in financial institutions and governments erodes, society begins to fracture. People stop working together for common good and begin to focus on protecting their own interests, leading to a breakdown of cooperation at a global scale. This systemic abuse of power creates a ripple effect, spreading financial instability, inequality, and resentment across the globe. The cycle of manipulation and distrust becomes self-reinforcing, destabilizing markets and eroding any sense of fairness. If this pattern continues unchecked, it threatens to collapse the global system altogether. This is not just a financial crisis. It is a moral crisis that, if left unaddressed, could lead to the disintegration of social and economic order. This content is brought to you by Bobby Giggs. Promote your brand here and reach a wide audience across platforms like YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Follow the links in the description to get started. 5. The rise of Bitcoin, a response to financial injustice. Bitcoin represents a direct challenge to this manipulative system. It is a decentralized financial system that operates outside the control of any central authority, providing transparency, neutrality, and permissionless access to anyone, anywhere in the world. Unlike the current financial system, which is controlled by a few central actors, Bitcoin operates on a peer-to-peer network, allowing for secure transactions without the need for intermediaries. Bitcoin is not just a technological innovation, it is a moral imperative. It was created to offer an alternative to the centralized, corrupt systems that have been weaponized for personal gain. Through decentralization, Bitcoin removes the ability of any single entity to manipulate the system for their own benefit, ensuring that wealth creation and financial transactions are fair, transparent, and accessible to everyone. The contrast between Bitcoin and the traditional financial system could not be starker. Where the old system is opaque, centralized, and designed to concentrate wealth, Bitcoin is transparent, decentralized, and open to anyone. Where the old system manipulates people for profit, Bitcoin offers a fair playing field for global cooperation and financial inclusion. Bitcoin is not just a currency, it is a statement against the manipulation and injustice that has plagued traditional finance for generations. 6. The vision for a new financial future. Bitcoin and other decentralized technologies are not just theoretical concepts. They represent a practical, ethical response to the flaws embedded in the old financial system. The potential for a new, fairer financial future is not just an ideal. It is rapidly becoming a reality. This future is one where trust is rebuilt, not on the whims of centralized authorities, but on the immutability and transparency of blockchain technology. A new paradigm of trust is emerging, one that doesn't require the intervention of corruptible intermediaries like banks or governments. Instead, it's a trust built on cryptographic certainty and consensus, where all participants have equal access to the rules of the system and can verify transactions without relying on third parties. The beauty of this system lies in its neutrality. No individual or organization can alter the rules or manipulate the system for personal gain. Everyone who participates in the network is on an equal footing. This transition to a decentralized financial system is inevitable. While the old system may attempt to adapt by co-opting blockchain technology or implementing its own digital currencies, it will fail to achieve the transparency and fairness that Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies offer. The legacy system, built on centralization and manipulation, cannot replicate the neutrality and fairness that decentralization provides. The collapse of the old system, though painful, is necessary for the creation of a more just and equitable financial world. As more people become aware of the systemic manipulation, the trust that once sustained the old system will continue to erode, pushing society closer to adopting decentralized alternatives. Governments, institutions, and individuals that refuse to adapt will find themselves irrelevant, as the public chooses systems that empower them and remove the possibility of exploitation. This transition is not without challenges, but the potential benefits far outweigh the difficulties. As more individuals and businesses adopt Bitcoin and decentralized finance, the old system will gradually lose its hold on the global economy. the world will shift from a system based on centralized power and control to one based on decentralized, peer-to-peer interactions that prioritize fairness, transparency, and inclusivity. 7. Conclusion. The financial system, as it stands, is a deeply broken, rigged system. The manipulation of markets, the abuse of power, and the systematic exploitation of the public are not accidents. They are deliberate choices made by those in control. This is not just a financial issue, it is a moral one. The creators and enforcers of this system are not just failing the people they claim to serve, they are committing a crime against humanity. However, as the old system continues to collapse under its own weight, there is hope. Bitcoin and decentralized finance offer a viable solution, one that is rooted in fairness, transparency, and equality. These technologies allow individuals to take control of their financial futures without the need for central authorities that have shown themselves willing to exploit and manipulate. It is time for the world to recognize the moral failure of the old financial system and embrace the ethical promise of decentralized technologies. Bitcoin is not just a financial tool, it is a moral imperative. It is a way out of the cycle of manipulation, exploitation, and injustice. The transition to a decentralized future is not just necessary, it is inevitable. The question is no longer whether this change will come, but how quickly we will embrace it. The future of finance is here, and it is fair, it is transparent, and it is built for the people.